My name is Scott Stoddard, and this screencast is about encrypted disk images. As a Mac guy, I frequently get asked questions about how to protect documents so that other people can't get them. Say you're putting all your documents on a USB key or burning them to a CD, and you're worried that you may lose that. You work in an environment where you commonly forget to leave it in a computer that's not yours, and you're worried that other people may gain access to your documents. Well, if you own a Mac, it's no problem, because what you can do is create an encrypted disk image. This is an encrypted file that is all scrambled so that nobody else can access it, and you can put all your files in there and then store that encrypted disk image on the USB key. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So, on your Mac, open up the program called Disk Utility. Disk Utility comes on every Mac, and you'll see when we open up the program here that one of the buttons at the top says New Image. So we're going to click that, and it's going to ask us what file name do we want to use for this. So we're going to call this Docs. And where are we going to save it? We're going to save it on the desktop. Now, what is our image going to be called? Well, I'm going to store pictures in this image, so we'll call it Pictures. And how big are we going to make it? Well, you just need to make sure that you're making it small enough that it's going to fit on whatever media you're going to copy it to. So if you're going to copy it to a 2 GB USB key, you have to keep it under 2 gigabytes. Now the default size is 100 megabytes, so we'll just keep it at that for today. And you don't need to change the format. The format is macOS Extended. That's fine for Mac users. And then it's going to ask us encryption, so we're going to pick an encryption level. Now these two encryption levels that are suggested here are different strengths of encryption. In other words, how hard is it to break into this file? But even the basic 128-bit AES encryption is the same kind of encryption that your banking uses, so it's pretty secure. So we're going to pick that. And then it's asking us how we want to partition this. You can leave that blank, that's fine. And the image format is a read-write disk image, meaning we can make changes to this or we can read the files off of it. And we'll click Create. Now it's going to ask us for a password. And although this isn't a screencast about password strengths, I would highly suggest that you use a password here that is not a word or birthday or telephone number. Use something that's very hard to guess. Today we're going to use the word password for this screencast. This is not a good password, but for the purpose of today's session it should be adequate. And then it has the option to remember password in keychain. For true security, you should always turn that feature off. That way your password's not stored anywhere and it requires you to type it every time. And we're going to click OK. So now you're going to see at the top that it's creating that disk image for me, and it's going to mount it for me. So we're done with Disk Utility now. We can quit Disk Utility. Get that out of the way there. And you'll see that what it's done is it's created my disk image on the computer, and it's mounted it already for me. So if I double click on Pictures, you'll see that there's nothing in there. And it's telling me 99.5 megabytes available, effectively the 100 megabytes that we asked for. So now what we can do, I've got 3 pictures on the desktop here, and so if we look at them, they're regular JPEG files. We can zoom in and take a look. So what I want to do is I want to put those files onto that disk image and make sure that nobody can get access to those files. So we'll drag them and put them in there, and now we'll delete them from the desktop so that they're not there anymore. So now they're in the disk image, and what we're going to do is we're going to eject the disk image so that it's not mounted to the computer anymore. And the way we do that is either right-click on it and select Eject, or if you drag it to your trash can on your dock, it'll give you the Eject option. So we're going to do that. So now it's not mounted anymore. The only thing we have is the actual file that contains that disk image. And so the only way that I can access these files is if I double click on the file. It's going to say, hey, this is an encrypted disk image, you need to enter a password to get access to it. So now what I could do is I could copy this DMG file to my USB key and know that I can go anywhere and never worry, if I lose that USB key, nobody's going to be able to get access to these files. What we'll do is I will enter my password. And once again, I'm choosing not to remember the password, and I click OK, and it mounts the disk image back on my system. And sure enough, all of my files are in there. So this is a really easy way of creating some storage for yourself that is protected in such a way that nobody else can get access to it. And it works on any Macintosh. So thank you very much for watching the screencast.